All right, I think we're live. I definitely think we're live. All right, so I, th I think it's working. All right, cool. So what's going on, guys? Over here, back at the channel. Don't know what's going on with Tharpo. I guess he's having a hard time being let in. So I'm gonna send him a link right now. But I always like to go live when, you're scheduled to go live. I'll send him another email. Hold on. There we go. Sweet. Think you got it figured out. See if he wants to come in. Well, there you go. Look at you. Audio's connecting. Can't hear you. Uh-oh. Yeah, all right. Maybe we can hear you now. You're muted. Definitely muted. You're muted. Yep, still muted. This is fun.
Well, anyway, I was here early. I logged and it said you were going to open the door for me for about 10 minutes or something like that. Anyway,
Oh,
I'm here.
all right, we're on YouTube.
What are we doing?
Tell us about your surgery.
Are we live?
Yeah?
We're live. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, everybody. But anyway, I had surgery. Scott and I were talking about this last week that don't procrastinate kind of thing. And I called him and I said they want to operate next week, and it was like a deadline, and I had to get all this stuff done. This is just like if you book a really big gig to your company, and there's a lot of working parts, so you got to do all this stuff. Scott does this every day. He gets all this going, and then there's another piece, and piece. Same thing with the surgery. As soon as you get it, then you have to go do pre-op. You got to check your heart. You got to get blood. You got to do zappy things. You got to do all this stuff. That's just the first step, though. And then you got to worry about your insurance, and you know, we'll see what that is. Yet I did it. Scott and I believe in when you got something to do, go get it done. And you can see the stitches here, I think. Can you?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but the surgery went really, really, really good. There's a lot of complications you can have in a surgery. One is if one of I think it's G5 or 6 in your back, sometimes it'll do it and you can't do that muscle. Another thing I could have had is I wouldn't talk, and everybody knows I need to talk. And a lot of people don't even get their voice back for 3 weeks,
We
and
we
some never
we
get it
couldn't
back.
shut you up if we
Yeah.
tried.
So yeah, and they said I was the fastest patient they had because everybody else was getting surgeries, and I got up and I wanted to walk because I heard on the internet it's best to walk. So I walked, I think 15 rounds. Not that night. I did about 6 rounds that night, and the next night they let me because I was carrying the walker, and I was, I had the walker just in case, but I was carrying it. And the next day I did 10, and they let me do it on my own. Usually they're really afraid because if I fall, maybe I could sue. But and I was on all this medicine that didn't hurt. And I was like, "Ah, you know me." And man, you're hyper. I said, really? So anyway, it went really well. I've got a brace on, you can see it. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
Woo,
yeah.
my hairy chest.
I think the
So,
brace makes it look worse.
well, well, I don't have to wear the brace. He said I didn't have to wear the brace. A lot of people demand you wear a brace for like 6 weeks, but he said my muscles were so strong and my bones were so strong, I didn't need one. But he said, just in case if you did need it. So I got it, and which is it's a nice little one. Um, Today I'll probably take a lot of sleeping medicine because I haven't been sleeping much. When you're in the hospital every 2 minutes, not that's an exaggeration, about every hour, maybe every half hour for that whole night, people are coming in. And I drank so much water and liquids, I had to go to the bathroom about 8 times that night. And then, there's two ways. So when you walk to the bathroom or you can pee in a cup. And I did both. But
So how much work did you have to do in order to fill up all your shifts to make the early Monday call
uh,
time?
it wasn't that bad. I just had to book a few shows and put them and then get all the information. And then I didn't get on, I could have done all the events, but I put somebody else on it, even though, I have to make a big decision if I'm ever going to do stilts again. Who, but the doctor said, the part that he just did will be stronger than the part, the one I had. So if I was doing stilts before, and he cut out all the bad stuff that could have gone into my spine. Now, if I fall, I probably won't die. I'll just break something.
Okay.
So anyway, that's the kind of thing. But I guess the main learning experience is I've been saying it on my other feed that it's not what happens to you, it's how you deal with it. I got all prepared. I mean, I've got weeks about I got probably over a year's worth of food in the house. I could just not ever go out again. I did all the laundry, cleaned all the stuff, and just got prepared for it. Like Scott and I do for gigs. What do you need? Over, think it a little bit so you have all your stuff and make sure you have backup when you need it. And that's the same thing I was doing. I went and got everything for backup if I need it. And, you know, the stuff you get at a hospital is, jacked up so much for the price. You're probably paying 200 for that. And, insurance pays most of it, but you have to pay the next. But but I thought it was a good idea because I was searching to find one of these, and I'm sure they're two hundred regularly, and they probably sold it to us, the insurance or me for 500 because they're markup everything, and even the pills I'm sure were about $5 a piece or $10, and you can get them prescription for. Well, I didn't have to pay anything for mine. I don't know what's going on. We'll see about how much I have to pay. Again, this is life. This is what happens. Life happens. I jumped rope on still for 40 years, 20 years, something like that. And then uh, I've been performing for 40 years. And it's just like a football player or a professional athlete. They get beat up too. And some of them, hurt for the rest of their lives because a skier could flip and break their legs. A football player, like the quarterback, gets sacked so many times they have to quit because they got so many concussions from the hits. And, you
Yep.
know, it's all there. And you can even, if you're just a worker at a station here, like typing all day and you bend it down like so, you can still get the same thing I did. Uh, Degenerating disc, and the cushion goes away because you're not postured right. You're supposed to be more postured like this. Okay, any
Yeah.
questions? I am glad I'm back. I told Scott the other day that I probably wouldn't be able to make it, but I've done such a fast recovery. I bet you I can walk 2 or 3 miles. I have painkillers in me. But I've been walking all day, probably pushing a little too much, but after this, I'm going to take some sleeping pills and just try to let my body heal because and it's good to get up. I mean, shoo wee, look at this. I mean, I was so afraid. I think was the biggest fear is that something would go wrong and they would do something terribly wrong, or they'd cut in the wrong place, or the anesthesia would have killed me, or any of those things. I didn't worry. Here's another
Worry
thing.
much?
Here's the thing about worry. I didn't worry hardly any except to like get everything on time. So I was the time crunch got me. Other than that, I just said, this is going to be shit. I mean, it is shit. I mean, I mean, you can see here's a bruise. Can you see that bruise?
Mm.
That's where he missed the needle. That's so it didn't even work. So he had to pull it out. I'll show you. And if I can get my button undone, da-da-da-da.
You all right over there?
I'm doing a strip tease for you. It's fuck, it's not that important. But this one, you can see all the bruises here, all the way up. See,
Wow. So,
that's where they took it. And then I have little blood spots everywhere. They come in there, they put these little patches on, and then they stick needles and you can see all the blood that ran out of my leg. So
well,
fun, but it got done. See, and that's the
you're
thing.
sounding better than you did 2 days ago or yesterday.
Oh yeah, every day. And there was a chance I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Scott would have liked that a little bit.
I mean,
So that's kind of that. Again, when you do something, I tell Scott a lot. I said, persistence, keep on doing it. It'll pay off. Whatever it is, what you want, just keep on doing it and do the best you can. And someday it'll be where you want to be. But the problem is when you get there, you'll want to be somewhere else. So you got to figure out your meaning and your purpose in life. And when you do that, you can be happy all the way to that journey. Uh, and again, consistency. If you want to see somebody consistently working their butt off, look at Scott. When I was a kid, like I worked that hard too. I did. I got up in the morning and went to bed about 12, got up in the morning almost every day of my life, or when I was really worried about money. Now I'm not as worried. And so, but and that's what you want to do with your company is build it, build it, build it. It's your body. And that's one of the pillars of happiness is where you're going to work and what are you going to do? Because a lot of times it's a third of your life. And as you get older and get more money, then it becomes half your life. Not No, not half, but it keeps on going down. And then finally, so I say find something you love to do and do that and make that your living, and then you'll be happier there. But also, uh, you know, here's something you don't realize. You're going through life, if you're happy or not happy, either way, but if you're being happy and everything, when you get sick, all that other happiness doesn't matter anymore because you're gonna now you're doing this for your life. So you got to get this thing done first. And that's what I was saying, I think a few weeks ago about war. I'm not, as a happiness coach, I'm not so worried about you being happy right now. What I want you to do is survive. Okay. Anything you can, find any silver lining on the way, but every day make it the best you can in a war situation because you might not be there the next day yet. Worry about, not worry, but think about how you're going to survive and do that. That's survival. This is the same way with your business. What's the most important thing to do first, second, third? And you could be, if you don't, let's just say where you're at, you don't want to be. Okay. We got to find out the well-formed outcome. Where do you want to go? And then you map that out to it. And on the way, you're getting your dopamine hit, you're being happier, and you can be working at one job and going towards another. This is where I don't want to be, but I want to be here. I still have to stay here for a while, and then and you can be happier here because you're actually going over here. And when you get here, you'll have a better life. And on the way, it can be a better life. It's just how you look at it. And I'm on painkillers, so I'm probably talking too fast and being a little flighty here. And it's the only lot of people wouldn't even be on here to 2 or 3 weeks that they'd talk. So I've been recovery is going really, really, really well. And I'm off my brace. I'm not necessarily. I didn't have to have a brace, so I put it on just this morning to see what it worked, if it worked. I think it helps a little, but you get more muscle tone if you don't use it. But you don't want to be so hyper that you don't let it fuse together. Anyway, I wonder because this is important. I think this is important to both me and Scott to show up. Showing up is half the battle. And even at gigs, when you show up, you're there. And then you got the other things to worry about. How do you look? What's your props? Do you got everything ready? But showing up, that's half the battle. Because Scott and I, if you can't show up, we're not hiring you. We're just not, because we have to get on my side. I guarantee all my people 100% unless they're dead. And it's only happened like 4 or 5 times where they didn't
Where
show
they
up.
died?
One, well, I told you in the last month, my old roommate died. Then my best friend from high school died, and then one of my best friends, Ian Varela, died, and a lot of death going on. So, with that said, a lot of death going on. Work on your happiness if you want. I don't want to force happiness anymore. I want you to want to be happy. If you don't want to be happy, don't be happy. It's as simple as that. But if you want to be happy, follow some of the rules of being happy, being thankful for what you got, looking at the bright side, knowing that you can reframe anything in life. You've got the pillars of happiness. They say your friends and family and coworkers are the main source of your happiness throughout your life. Having a good friend you can talk to, uh, relationships. That's number key. And yet, it's not true when you're sick. Save yourself first, get out of the sickness, and then go save everybody else. But just like on a lifeboat, get your uh, raft first and help everybody out. Or it's just like in a plane, you have to go different ways to get to your destiny, but just keep going. You can tell I'm flighty today.
Yeah,
I'm here. I showed up.
it's an airplane. You put your mask on first.
Yeah. But I said the other one was raft, but I meant life jacket or that little floaty thing, round circle.
Sure.
Anyway, it's kind of like I'm a little flighty,
A buoy,
a buoy.
Bowie.
The- Oh, I'd swim to that buoy. The buoy, isn't it sometimes called a bob?
Yeah, I don't know what the name of that life preserver circle
Mm.
thing is called.
I don't know.
I look circle. Yeah, preserver ring buoy. That's what it's called. Yeah, life preserver circle buoy.
Well, anyway, save yourself first and then go save the world
Oh,
as well.
buoy.
Oh, buoy. Oh, buoy. Um, and the doctor said the throat will be there for because what they do is they get that, but they have to move all of that to one side for 3 hours. And he says nobody comes out of there without having a sore neck. And he said that's just usual, no big deal. And even with painkillers, you can still feel it.
Yeah,
So, uh, do what the doctor says.
it's a good thing you're a pain therapist.
Yeah, and what you can do sometimes is you can negotiate the pain. You can tell your unconscious, "Hey, I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to do that, and I am okay with you giving me a little pain, but could we take it down to a 2 or 3?" And I did that the other day, and it worked. I mean, I think I was at an 8, and I got it down to a 3. But if you worked at a lot, I did some havening too. I'm just telling you some of the stuff I was doing. This is kind of havening. And then you bring in the delta waves with havening, and that's a healing thing. And I brought that that Ensure drink. We
Yep.
bought a bunch of those and got prepared. I drank, it said you should drink a lot of water and are a lot of liquids before you want to be hydrated when you go in there so it's easier for them to get put a shot in you and stuff, but for some reason it's hard to find my veins. Even I'm just not that vain. So that's why they shoot me all over the place. So if you're I mean, I've got boo-boos everywhere. And that because each one of them does their job, but some of them aren't as good. Like this one guy came in, I said, I don't want any more shots. They put a IV here, and so that in my damn shirt.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, if I can get this. I'm gonna have to check that, but there you see all those bruises.
I don't know how you made it.
I did it, Bo. I did it, and Scott was doing his good thing to say, "Buck it up, buddy. Go do get it done. What do you need? What do you got to do?" And because I I had a little question about how I was going to get from the hospital back home, but my girlfriend brought me there, and it worked out. But sometimes you just wonder to make sure you get there. And I got there an hour and a half early, and it didn't matter because they didn't even open the doors till 5:30. So we got there about 3:30 or 3 because
In
I
the
was there.
morning? Yeah.
Yeah, and had to get security to let us in, and then we just waited. But I thought I'd go there and get everything done, and I got in the waiting room. They had to wait 45 minutes there before they did anything. Yet, just know but it was such a great surgery. Seriously, I came out of it none of the bad stuff, and then I stayed in the recovery room for anesthesia, and they give you a lot of you can ask for more whatever they're sending in because at that time when you totally get just right there getting out of surgery, anesthesia is coming off, you are hurting for certain. It hurts. But when I got in, but you don't, I didn't feel anything. You know how you go in, you get the anesthesia, and then you're out. You don't feel anything. They go in and do whatever they're doing for 3 or 4 hours, and then you come out, and then you're hurting when that starts wearing off, and then you try to wean off what you don't need because you can get constipation. That's one of the big things with painkillers. You got to be real careful because the last surgery I had like 10 or like 20 years ago, it was the lower back. And I remember that it hurts so bad when you get so stopped up. So be taking, whatever softeners or whatever if you're taking a lot of pills. And I'm not your doctor, so I don't know why I'm being a doctor here. I think I'm just blabbing.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's I think that's thanks for checking in. I think that's all the time we have for this day. Um,
Okay.
but make sure to, take care of yourself, get some rest,
Yeah.
and then we'll catch you on the next week.
Okay, buddy. Thank
All right. Yeah, everybody else, go get them. Making things happen. All right. I'll catch you on the next one. All right.
you.